Hey everybody, and welcome to this video, kind of an intro for what we're going to do today. So you should all have this handout, and in this problem I want us to find the sine, cosine, tangent, and the measure of the angle formed by the positive x-axis and the ray passing from the origin through 5, 3. Okay, so let's first plot point 5, 3 on this graph. And remember, we're going from the positive x-axis and we're forming a ray through this point. And what we want to do is find the sine, cosine, and tangent of this angle. Remember, angles are always next to the origin. Now, if you look at that point, what we actually have is a right triangle. And we know that this is 3 units high because the point 5, 3 indicates we've gone to the right 5 units and up 3 units. So what we have here is a right triangle, and we can use the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to redraw the right triangle here. We're going to apply the Pythagorean theorem so that we can get the measure of this hypotenuse, or the length of the hypotenuse, and everybody work that out right now. All right, hopefully you got the result that your C, or your hypotenuse, is the square root of 34. And so now we can use that information as we answer these questions. So the sine of our angle, theta, is the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So that would be 3 over 34. Remember, you want to simplify those radicals. You don't want them in the denominator. So that's going to result in 3 square roots of 34 all over 34. We also want the cosine of theta. That's going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so that's going to be 5 over the square root of 34, which is going to result in 5 square roots of 34 over 34. And the tangent of theta is going to equal the opposite over the adjacent, which is 3/5. Now, in this problem, I've only asked you for the sine, cosine, and tangent. But later on in your homework problems, you're going to be asked to also get the secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Now remember, the secant, or the CSC of theta, is the reciprocal of the sine. So if you know what sine is, you just take the reciprocal, and we've got the square root of 34 over 3. The secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So if we want to get the secant, which is SEC theta, we look at the cosine and we take the reciprocal, which is the square root of 34 over 5. And then the cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So if I want the cotangent of theta, I just take the reciprocal of my tangent, and that would be 5/3. So that's a nice little shortcut that you're going to need later on. So let's just add that to this problem. Now, we've got the sine, cosine, and tangent, but now we need to find the measure of this angle. So here's where you get to pick any one of these trig ratios that you formed. I'm going to take the tangent because those numbers are actually the nicest. So if we think about that, if the tangent of theta is 3/5, that means the inverse tangent of 3/5 is going to be theta. Or if I want to get rid of that tangent, I have to take the inverse tangent of both sides. So that's going to leave me with theta equals the inverse tangent of 3/5. And here's where you need to get your calculator out to figure out what that is. So when you take the inverse tangent of theta, remember to use that second key and make sure your calculator is in degree mode, and then you're going to put in the inverse tangent of 3 divided by 5, and that results in 30.96 degrees. All right, make sure you have good notes for this, and then go ahead and watch the next video.